I like pointing out what we call Fig Pig Cove, which is that little cove where you come across the bridge just north of the marina. Don't ask me why it's called that. At one point there was a fig tree and there was a pig eating the figs and the name just stuck.
That's Marguerite Patil of the Contra Costa Water District. Los Vaqueros is a great place for wildlife today, and we're going to talk about some of the most interesting species. But let's start with a picture of the wildlife that might have lived here centuries ago. Huge herds of pronghorn and Tule elk thrived in the wide-open grasslands of the Central Valley. It was California's Serengeti. Raptors soared in the windy passes, not just eagles and hawks, but also condors. Thick runs of salmon filled nearby streams. Grizzly bears roamed from the foothills of the Central Sierra, across the Central Valley, through what is now the Delta and Los Vaqueros, to the Bay Area. In fact, Mike Moran says, this region may have supported the densest population of grizzlies in North America.
So you had these bears tromping about, and these herds of elk that the Spaniards would talk about as the greatest herds that they had ever seen. They just went on for miles. And there were the Tule elk. Estimated 500,000 Tule elk in the Central Valley when the gold rush came. And within 30 years, they were thought to be extinct. Shot mostly for tallow, but also for food and sport and things like that. Thought to be extinct. And the state legislature passed a law making it illegal to hunt Tule elk after it was believed that they were extinct. Just in the hope that, maybe they're not really extinct, we don't really know that. And then Henry Miller of the Miller-Lux cattle operation, 1 million acres, 1 million head of cattle. Henry Miller loved Tule elk, even though his operation probably did more to eradicate Tule elk habitat than anything else. Down by Buttonwillow, the story goes, some of us as cowboys found a little herd of Tule elk that had survived. And it was from that little patch of Tule elk that we have the population that we have today.
Today, there are no elk or pronghorn at Los Vaqueros, and only small remnant populations elsewhere in California. Grizzlies have been gone from the state for almost a century. But we do have hints of what was lost in the abundance of birds and amphibians. Our next stop is at a bench about a 15 or 20-minute walk north of Fig Pig Cove on the Los Vaqueros Trail. You can take either the upper or the lower trail to get there unless the water level is high, and then you'll need to stick to the upper trail. Look for flashy birds like osprey and pelicans, and much more.
You're in an area that we think of as a wildlife corridor. It's getting pretty narrow now as the lake gets a higher level. But I've seen golden eagles hanging out there, I've seen coyotes, all different kinds of raptors. It's a neat vantage point because it transitions from the grassland to the trees. You can see a lot of things.